I spent hundreds of hours researching the best ways to eliminate elbow pain while working out. In today's video, I'm gonna break down all the current research, how you can eliminate elbow pain working out and build bulletproof elbows. So make sure you watch this video all the way to the end. Almost everything we do day to day in the gym uses our hands and involves some sort of gripping, whether it's push or pull exercise, squats or deadlifts. We're always using the hands and the elbows, and the elbow is actually an incredibly complex joint and has a lot of motion in it, leading it to be susceptible to injury. So the first exercise we're gonna get started with is to strengthen our wrist extensors. Wrist extension is when our wrist comes up and the muscles on the back of the forearm contract to get the wrist into that motion. So the exercises I'm demonstrating in this video, you can see here, depending on how much pain you have, I want you to start with isometric, meaning you're just holding the top position for 10, 15, 20 seconds, pain-free. If you're graduated from that level, we're gonna move on. We're gonna use the other hand to come up and coming down as slow as you can. I call that eccentric wrist extension because you're controlling it up. Maybe it's too painful to lift up on your own, and then you can control it back down. And then next level from there, wrist extension, pause at the top, slow and controlled back down, doing both the eccentric and concentric portion of the rep. And this is going to be a principle that we're going to use in the next exercise. You can see here we're going to wrist flexion. Same thing, I want you to start with the isometric, just holding that top position. If you're having pain in your elbow, I really want your pain to be your guide here, just like with anything on this channel. I want you to learn to listen to your body, and then from there, same thing, using your other hand and controlling it back down, and so on and so forth, progressing to the full range, strengthening your wrist flexors. Again, this is if you have elbow pain on the inside of your elbow. So make sure you watch these in depth and you really understand the form here, and make sure to pick a weight that's appropriate to where you're at. Another really important thing I want you guys to understand is when performing your wrist extensions and your wrist curls, I really want you to work on the slow and controlled tempo and the pause, and really making sure you're picking a weight that you can control for around that 10 to 12 rep range. If you're picking something that's starting to cause pain or it's starting to fatigue too quickly, just lighten that load. I recommend everyone start with that 5 to 10 pounds and go up from there. Again, we wanna build endurance and we wanna load the tendon up. And if you're just flapping your hand up and down with something heavy, or you're using momentum and you end up using your shoulder, you're gonna be missing the mark here, because I wanna build bulletproof elbows. I'm not here to just move the body without any intentions. I find it absolutely insane that people complain about wrist and elbow pain, but not once have they ever warmed up their wrist at the gym. By stretching and mobilizing these, we actually get blood flow, improve the strength, and improve the range of motion so they don't feel tight and stiff all the time. So I'm going to show you some of my favorite stretches that I do to warm up before my upper body workouts, or even a long day on the computer using my hands here. I'm starting with my wrist into flexion, leaning backwards as appropriate, feeling the stretch all the way in the front of the forearm. Then I'm going to turn my palms down and I'm going to sit back onto my heels, slowly pulsing back and forth, warming up into that wrist extension position. This stretch is going to feel amazing. Sometimes while I'm in there, I'll wiggle around the fingers and the thumb, try to pulse side to side dynamically, and really get a full 360-degree stretch of my wrist, elbows, and forearms. And again, when performing these stretches for the wrist and the elbow, I really want you to go slow here, only sitting as far back as comfortable. If you haven't done a lot of wrist mobility work in the past, these can be quite intense, but I always pick the most effective exercises to share with you guys on this channel. So make sure you scale that appropriately. I typically start with, I'm gonna say 15 to 20 pulses back and forth. And sometimes if it's still feeling pretty tight, I'll hold that end position for around 30 seconds. So I want you to feel it out here and really spending some quality time noticing how those wrists and elbows feel afterwards as you get into your workout. To really make this warm-up routine complete, we're gonna be doing nerve flossing, which helps mobilize the nerve in the elbow and get it moving better in the body. Now, if you're going too fast here, this might be a little bit too uncomfortable to perform. I typically suggest one set of 5 to 10 reps, as slow as you can. The more you move the head, the more this is going to intensify, so you're turning your palm up and down and moving your head side to side slowly. You might feel a sensation in your elbow. If that is too intense for you, just decrease the range of motion and move accordingly. This is a really effective way to bulletproof the elbows, but it really requires you to go slow and be in tune with your body while performing this. If you've been following this channel for some time now, you know I'm a huge fan of Zottman curls. They're such a great exercise to not only build muscle in the forearms and the biceps, but they also can help to bulletproof your elbow because they're working the elbow through the entire range of motion, not leaving any muscle unturned. So we're coming up into full elbow flexion, supination, turning the palms up. You're gonna slowly control that weight, putting the palms down, and a nice eccentric lowering for those forearm extensors. Just like we did earlier in this video, on the way down, we're really loading up those forearm extensors that tend to get neglected. So I really want you to work on these. If you have pain with these, the regression would be to do some hammer curls, nice pause at the top, controlling down as slow as you can. Again, all these progressions, I really want you to focus on the form and pick the most appropriate one for you to really bulletproof the elbows, because we're talking about 360-degree bulletproofing your elbows, not just doing one exercise. I'm giving you guys the complete package. So the next trick I'm gonna show you guys goes way beyond just fixing inner and outer elbow pain. We're gonna go into building bulletproof triceps. So I'm gonna be doing eccentric triceps here. These are like gold for your elbows. You're gonna come down all the way into full extension. I want you to control that up as slow as you can. This is really gonna build bulletproof triceps and bulletproof elbows. I see it time and times again. People get bad elbows from benching too much, having poor mechanics in the shoulder, and they're just slamming around weight on the tricep extensions. I want you to really go slow here. I'm thinking 5 to 10 seconds on the way up, and slowly and controlled full extension on the way down. This is gonna be money for your elbows. Go slow, it is gonna burn. Slowly increase the weight over time. I don't want you to use any momentum. This is one of my favorite exercises I've been doing for years, and all my clients do these to get those elbows pain-free. There was a really cool 10-week study done by Bat et al. Showing that after a 10-week period strengthening the middle and lower trapezius, the muscles on your back that control the position of your shoulder blade, not only just day-to-day and posturally, but they also affect the biomechanics of the elbow. So these muscles are not only so important for preventing shoulder pain, but isn't that crazy and amazing that we can use this evidence to really build bulletproof elbows? So I'm gonna be showing you guys 2 of my favorite exercises to strengthen the mid and the lower traps. For those who are just getting started with strengthening their traps and their upper back, we're starting on the bench with variations of T's, Y's to really strengthen the shoulder blade. Again, going slow as controlled like I am in this video, making sure that you're externally rotating out your shoulder. I don't want to see your thumb pointing down because we're going to get less activation of those muscles. So, and then once you're getting stronger, the Y position is going to be a lot harder. So making sure that you're setting the shoulder blade as you're coming into the position and you're not just lifting your arms up. I really want you to focus on bringing the shoulder blade back and down and pausing at the top, because we get the peak contraction of these muscles at the top position. So you're really making sure you're fighting to get to the top and you're not setting yourself up short from making the gains in this exercise. I'm going to show you guys a few angles here because I really want you to see how I'm setting my shoulder blade. And then my favorite exercise, this one can really help to build some muscle in the mid and lower traps, is the hanging scapula pull-up here. A few key tips: make sure you keep those elbows locked out. Start in a dead hang position, pulling your shoulder blades all the way down, making space between your bicep and your ear, controlling that back up. Nice and slow, getting a nice pause here. If this is too hard for you, you can do the same thing from a seated position on the lat pull down, but I encourage you to really work on your grip strength because this is gonna additionally provide benefits for getting rid of that elbow pain. So a big thing when it comes to elbow pain that we can't miss is doing some soft tissue work. A lot of times, you know, we can't just approach it from doing the strengthening and the mobilization, but we have to work on the integrity of the tissues, because we all know that tightness in the muscles around the forearm, the elbows, and the triceps can cause a lot of referred pain. So I'm going to show you a routine I've been doing for years, using the barbell in the squat rack to really mobilize my triceps first. You notice the back of my arm, not the joint itself, but the muscle is along the barbell, and I'm coming into elbow flexion and extension. I want you to work from the elbow a little bit up to the middle of the tricep to find some areas of opportunity to work on and mobilize that tissue. So you'll notice I'm going slow here back and forth, even moving a little bit side to side, doing some cross fiction across the tissue. This is a really great way you can work through the tightness in your elbow. So go slow here. I usually do a minute or 2 each side, compare how it feels side to side, and really work through those trigger points. This one's a little more awkward, but we're gonna come into the squat rack. I'm gonna bring my arm behind my body. We're gonna do the same thing, doing an active release through the bicep. I usually start along the middle, into elbow flexion extension, using that same technique, shimming my arm side to side here, coming all the way up until it attaches into the shoulder. There's 2 heads of the bicep, so obviously you gotta contort your body in the position that helps you work through those trigger points. Super underrated. I do this before my workouts and sometimes afterwards as well. It's something that you want to implement, you know, once a week or every other week for maintenance of the elbow and all the muscles surrounding it. So I hope you guys implement all these techniques to build bulletproof elbows. I'm going to give you a breakdown on my website below. You can hit the painfreebodybuilding.com/elbow, and I'll break down how you can put this through an entire workout to build bulletproof elbow strength. And as always, comment below gains if you want to get started with the Pain-Free Bodybuilding program, or head to painfreebodybuilding.com. I hope I see you in the next video. If I don't, I'm going to be mad, bro. Stay pain-free.